Welcome back, everybody. Well, this thrilling article about housing prices. If you are a homeowner yourself, this might be stressful. If you are not a homeowner, this also might be stressful because what happened was housing prices kind of were pretty good for a little bit there. And people noticed that buying a house would not easily, but at least make a lot of money from it, from the rise in the equity of the house. However, this was not a sustainable way of living, I guess, and this wasn't sustainable for Korea specifically, because 1 year later, after this sort of boom, housing prices started to skyrocket so high, so fast. People could not keep up with it. People who took out many loans to kind of invest in this property or in a property that would make them money later, found out now that the sort of interest was too much for them. They couldn't pay the loan and they couldn't pay the interest, and they're in a lot of trouble. This scared everybody away from the market itself. And despite the government's best efforts to try and lower the housing market prices or kind of encourage people to borrow again by making it easier and cheaper, people are still very wary of the market, and they don't want to incur any huge fees or debt just for a property that is not guaranteed to stay at this level, and it might even be guaranteed to drop again in the future. So that's kind of where we're at now. And in the article, it talked about maybe these days people are starting to realize renting rather than owning is going to be the way to go for a while, if not for long term. And I think we've kind of in the first part agreed with that. You know, right now renting just makes sense. And most people say, oh, it's just throwing away your money. But it's not quite. If you look at all the costs of owning a house, you might be spending more money on a house than renting, even for a 10, 20-year sort of future. So it's always good to crunch the numbers in detail, even though it's highly annoying for people like me who hate math. Do you have any thoughts on this, like current housing market? I guess in Korea, because that's where we live, huh?
I think the housing market, I think, is pretty similar all around the world right now. Yeah. It's getting pretty crazy. Me, I'm a big socialist, so I think that housing should not even be something that you have to pay for and something that you can't afford. It should be a right, and I think that the majority of housing should be provided to people because if you stabilize their lives with housing they don't have to worry about, guess what? They work better, smarter, and more. And that helps the country. But we're in a system where I guess the horse has already left the barn and
I see.
Okay, we can't close the door. The horse is out. There's nothing left to do.
There's nothing left to do.
That's my thoughts on just any housing markets.
Well, you can be like that one guy who built the sort of platform in the ocean and made his own country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, housing's free here.
Yeah, what is
for
that
those
place
who
called?
need it.
Sealand or something?
Yeah, something like that. They even had a passport for a while.
Yeah.
Although it's not recognized as a country yet. He did have a diplomat visit once.
Oh.
But that did not cement his sort of list among nations in the world.
Sure.
Yeah, anyways. What do you think might be more important? In fact, actually, let me ask you guys this, because this is an important question for all of us to ask as we do either get older or live our lives or even go into retirement. What are these important factors that we need to think of when renting or buying a house?
Like I said, I think this is not you can't use this as a blanket statement. I think each person, like you said, you want stability where you can live somewhere for 10 to 20 years. Okay, like I think that's perfect for some people, right? But do you want to do that?
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself those kinds of questions.
What money do you want to spend?
Yeah.
What effort do you want to put in? I mean, people who own their home have to take care of it.
You got property taxes, you got maintenance.
Yeah.
So all of those factors, I think, are important to consider. What do you think?
Yeah, I think number one for me is price, of course. Is this even viable? If it's not viable, then I wouldn't be even thinking about buying a house. I would rather rent. The other thing is a turbulent market. am I buying this as an investment for the future, or is it I'm buying this for a long-term property? That would be a consideration as well. Do I care if the the housing price goes up and down, or am I just going to die here, or retire and die, whatever? Not like that. Not so dramatic. But yeah, there's a lot of different factors. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But everyone needs a house, so in the end, you got to find something or someone's couch to kind of land on.
Yeah.
It's couch surfing. It's not in the article, but couch surfing just basically means you sleep at different people's houses because you don't have a place to sleep for the long term or for the short term.
It's definitely a thing.
It's definitely a thing. Couch surf forever. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and check out that vocabulary down below. Remember couch surfing as well, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Equity.
Equity.
Incur.
Incur.
Hefty.
Hefty.
Turbulent.
Turbulent.
Principal.
Principal.